I just came back from a 5-day trip to North Korea to take part in the Pyongyang Marathon. This is the first time that they've ran the marathon in 5 years due to the global pandemic. Here's what I saw. So the only way into North Korea is to do it with a tour company. I went with KoryoTours, which is a notable company that's been running trips to North Korea since 1993. Before the trip, we had a briefing where they gave us all the rules. So they talked about things that we can do, what we can't do. The total trip costs 2,200 euros and it covers 5 days in Pyongyang with the flights. The first day, we flew from Beijing to Pyongyang. When we got to Pyongyang airport, we were met with quite heavy security checks. Some people had their devices searched, so they would go through your mobile phones, your laptops, checking for any contraband material. So as soon as we arrived, we were met by the guides and they took us to the stadium where we would be running the next day. This gave us a real feel for what it's going to be like in North Korea. That evening, we got drunk and that was kind of a theme of the trip. The guides were super friendly and they always wanted to have a good time with us, and the hotel was really nice and kitted out for tourists. Day 2, running the marathon. So we woke up very early, we got to the stadium, there was a big opening ceremony, and then they divided us up, so who's running what distance. I ran the 10K, and we were mixed with a lot of North Korean children who were actually very good runners. As soon as you set off, you've got your set route to go, and there's no guides. Now I knew this because I watched Drew Binsky's video on North Korea, and I knew this would be the only opportunity to really speak to Korean people without the guides being with you. So I really made the most of it. High-fived everyone, I had little bits of interaction. Apparently I spoke Chinese to a lot of people, which is bizarre. 중국어? You speak 중국어? No. But I just wanted to talk to them. You finish the race in the stadium. There's maybe about 50,000 people there. The guide told me there was 100,000, but it's clearly not. And I was also told that the people are politely requested to attend this event. Then me and a friend then snuck out of the stadium and we managed to interact with some local Koreans. This was amazing. I got to show them some photos on my phone. I got to show the kids my tattoos, which they'd never seen before. Yeah, this is the song. How great thou art. In one of my YouTube videos, somebody translated and said that they were discussing about if you speak to a foreigner, you'll get arrested. Later that day, we went to the zoo. It was a bit of a random location to take us to. And then that evening, we had more drinks. Day 3. We started off this day going to the Kim Il-sung, the birthplace of Kim Il-sung. I didn't really buy into it. It was a lot of propaganda rubbish that the guide was talking. That's not why we're visiting North Korea. After that, we went to the Taekwondo show. This was cool. North Koreans are really good athletes, and it was interesting to see how the North Korean audience was seated and how they would behave so well in comparison to all us foreigners. They then took us to the greenhouse room. Now this was a room where they grow the crops and vegetables, something they're very proud of. But the most interesting thing about this trip was seeing outside of Pyongyang. We got to see real poverty. We saw people working in the fields. We saw the shock of the locals as they probably saw foreigners for the first time. We then went for a very fancy Korean meal with a performance. But we did get to see some North Korean K-pop, which was interesting. Day 4. We started off this day visiting the statues, a very important part of the trip. You have to bow to the statues and you have to be super respectful at this site. It is a sacred site for North Koreans. And if you make a mistake, you might not come back. We then went on the Pyongyang propaganda tour, where they took us to all the famous sites that I'd never heard of. Every time I tried to sneak away to speak to people, the guides would push me back into the group. One of my best interactions was a university student who came up to me and wanted to speak in English and practice his English. I could see that he was really nervous. He's trying to hold his hands from not shaking, which is why I've blurred his face in this video. The guides did not like him talking to me. That evening we went bowling, followed by boozing. Again, very controlled, but quite a fun way to end the day. Day 5, our last full day in Pyongyang. We started off by riding the Pyongyang Metro, which is the deepest metro system in the world. We then went to another propaganda war museum, which is where they take all the tour groups. and tell us about what really happened in the Korean War. After that, we went to the sports academy. This was great. We actually got to meet some of the North Korean kids. We even played football with them, and I got to show them one or two of my skills.
Catch the ball!
Finished up the day by going to the North Korean Mall, which is where you can get all your gifts and souvenirs. Day 6, morning flight, back to Beijing. There wasn't even any checks at the airport, so technically I could have brought out more stuff in my suitcase, but I didn't want to risk that. And then we made it back to a slightly less restricted country. So my summary of North Korea, it was a once-in-a-lifetime trip. It's hard to see people who are scared of interacting with you and knowing how many rules there are in this country and how isolated it is from the rest of the world. As strict as the guides were, we had a brilliant time with them. They're only people. We got drunk with them. We shared stories. I even gave the guide my phone number in case she ever does make it out of North Korea. And I felt really, really sad leaving the country and leaving behind some really nice, genuine people. I would definitely go back to North Korea. If I do, I probably need to delete all my YouTube videos prior to that, but it's such a special place. I recommend the trip to everyone. North Korea, Josong Sarang Hamnida.